what it would take to be a pro at that level. And I'm like, man, that's a lot of drugs. And you have to take different drugs
Man.
16 weeks out, then 12 weeks out. As the prep progresses, it's just an alphabet of drugs. And, I just didn't
Jeez.
want to live like that. I didn't want to open that can of worms.
And we are live. What is going on? And welcome, Desario, Core Killer Smith. Thank you for joining me this morning, man. How you feeling?
I'm good, man. Glad to be here.
Good. I'm glad you're here too, man. I know you're a really busy person. You just got done with the Florida Pro, back-to-back championships, and now you're getting ready for the Yorton Cup. I mean, come on, let me know what's going on in your head while you're going through this. You're like at the top of the sport. You are the one that everyone is going through. Kind of take us into what that's like to be where you're at.
Man, all I gotta say is hard work pays off, just keep grinding, stay consistent, and you will find your way at the top eventually. It doesn't happen overnight. I've been at this for a while.
Right.
I'm not a rookie just winning everything. It just doesn't always happen that way. So I'm just happy to be where I'm at. I work toward it. I put the time in, um, and just appreciative, that I'm on this path. Finally, kind of at the top, because any given weekend you can lose, if you don't show up your best, your sharpest. The competition is so stiff,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm just grateful and blessed that the judges see it my way. you know
Well, yeah, what's interesting, when I met you at the Florida Pro, right? There's a couple of different energies for me, especially it being one of the first events that I got to kind of host and commentate for. But I
right.
remember like when all the check-ins, I met all the amateurs, everybody's all excited, nervous, they can't wait to eat. I met some of the pros, and you could tell they're just calm. They've done it before. But when I
Right.
met you, Desario, when I met you, I remember I shook your hand. I was like, yo, I've been following you. And you're just like, yeah. But like, what? Like, what? This is just so calm. And then I remember talking to you, and I was just like, yo, how you feeling? Like, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling all right. I'm like, this man is just got it going. I mean, I'm curious. Is that your usual approach and energy at these kind of shows? Like, what's going through your head when you're getting ready for like check-ins and all that?
I mean, you don't want to get too high and you don't want to get too low, until it's all said and done. You want to keep your emotions in check. Um, you have a lot going on in your mind, preparation, what you need to do, when you need to do it. Everything has to be done timely. Um, Very specific protocols, especially during
Mm-hmm.
that check-in time because you're after that peak week, you've been depleted, you know, low carbs, water manipulation, and then around check-in time, it's time to start carbing up and all of that. So you have all of that on your mind, but you still want to remain calm because stress is no good for you. It actually affects
Mm.
your body and how you look, your cortisol hormones, all of that. So you just want to remain as calm as possible. Have some good friends around, good support around, just to keep you calm and even keel going into the show. And you just want to kind of focus and envision
Mm.
yourself winning, and go over your posing, and you just making the last minute fine tuning tweaks here and there just to make
Right.
sure everything is as good as you want it to be on stage. So it's just a mental focus type of thing. you know
Mm. Mm. You said something really important here, and I really want to harp on it and ask you about it, which is you visualize yourself winning. Can you kind of go into what that really means? Because I feel like a lot of people say it, but what does that mean for you to visualize your win?
for me, it's going through my posing practice. I record myself and I watch it back. I try to simulate the stage when I
Mm.
practice. So, I'm holding poses as long as I think the judges would have us hold on stage, So I'm preparing myself for that grind because it's tough. Some of those poses you're holding for minutes at a time, and then they're switching you, and you have to hold again. And
Right.
especially the back pose, I think is the toughest to hold. So I practice that a lot, and so like I said, just try to simulate the day, simulate the stage, and what it would take to be successful, and I go through it in my mind about I anticipate what I'm about to do basically, and it just helps with preparation, and it helps with confidence, just knowing what the next step is. I already know what I'm going to do on the stage, even with in the
Mm.
comparison rounds with transitions, and I already know what to do. I'm not hesitant. It's already planned out. I'm
Right.
not guessing
Right.
up there.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense because I will tell you, man, as I'm going to complete fanboy here. I'm going to complete fanboy this next segment. I'm not going to lie to you. Like when I saw you on stage, I was just like impressed because obviously, man, that physique lineup at the Florida Pro. Oh my
Yes,
God, that was.
yes,
Oh my
it was
God,
deep.
it
It
was.
was a
But
deep
I'll tell you,
lineup. Yeah,
bro. But I got to give you kudos because when you were on stage again, that same demeanor, that same moxie that I met you with is the same, and if not more, that you had on stage. So it's really interesting to experience what it was like to witness you on stage and then hearing you now talk about the preparation, and it kind of just makes sense. It's like, how can you not be that confident? How could you not be that present and already aware based on everything that you just said?
exactly.
And I got to tell you, and that's another thing that I really was intrigued by and why I really wanted to talk to you, especially on this, which is everybody is obviously competing against everybody else. But it seemed like you were just, oh, this is just about me. This is my event. This is mine. This is this. And yeah,
That's
can
the
you go into that?
mindset.
Yeah.
That is the mindset because technically it's not really you against all the other competitors. That's why we're so friendly. We don't determine who wins. We can't, it's not like basketball or football where, I can try to cross you over and score on you or something. I have to be the best me for the judges to make that determination, right? So
Mm,
it's really about me and the judges, and about the confidence that comes from preparation. Proper preparation exudes confidence. That's how I feel. If I'm unprepared, then I'll be nervous because I'll
mm,
know, damn, I probably didn't do enough cardio. I didn't diet for long enough. I'm probably not as lean as I should be because I've been to shows where I knew I wasn't going to win. I
mm,
knew I wasn't where I should be uh, to hit the stage, but I went through with it, just because I committed, and so I'm going to follow through. And I kind of said it was a warm up show because I knew I wasn't ready, but you still don't expect to do as bad as you did sometimes. So it happens. This was like 2021. After the pandemic, I had bulked up and did a dirty bulk, and I just gained way too much fat. So my prep was extended like 2 months. I had to prep for an additional 2 months just to lose the body fat, and I still wasn't where I needed to be. And
mm,
I think I placed like sixth, and I think the Yorton was a few weeks later. I looked better at the Yorton, but still, didn't place in the top three. I think I came sixth at the Yorton as well in 2021. So proper preparation. When you know you look good, you you show it. You feel good.
mm,
They say for one of the judges last year at the Florida Pro, um, he was telling me about my trunks, picking out the proper trunks, the color. He said it's like going to an interview. You want to wear your favorite color
mm.
because it's going to make you feel good. You look good, you feel good, you perform well, right? So it's all a part of it. just that preparation and feeling good about yourself and having all your ducks in a line, and you go out and perform. You have less worries and anxiety, you know.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah. Is this so I saw an old post I think where you bulked up to like 190 something pounds. Is this the one you're talking
Yes,
about?
that is correct.
Wow. Okay. So
Right. So to give you some context,
right.
I got up to 197, but I'm typically around
Oh,
160 on stage.
wow.
Yes.
All right. So I have to ask, specifically because there's so much popularity just outside of just bodybuilding with regards to like bulking, dirty bulking, the leaning down for summer, all that dynamic. But can you kind of go into what that process is like for you to bulk? Like, what are things that you're doing to bulk? And then what are you doing in timeline wise to get lean and get ready for a show?
Yeah, so dirty bulking is a bad idea. I'll be the first to tell you. Um, but I think my problem was I was chasing a number. I was trying to hit 200. I was trying
Mm.
to get to 200 pounds. So, and I got a mass gainer. It was like 1,000 calories per serving,
Oh
and I
shit.
had that twice a day. Right.
Oh my
So,
god.
right. So I got 2,000 calories just from shakes, and then I was eating on top of that. Right. Yeah, that's how that happened.
Oh my
Now
god.
I'm
Are you talking?
thinking, I'm lifting heavy weight, so the calories are. I'm assuming they're being used, but no, I was just eating pizzas and burgers and fries and just whatever, chasing the number because I got stuck at that in the 190s. Like I got to 197, I'm like, geez, I don't think I can eat any more food. I can't.
Uh-huh.
That was my capacity. So I was like, the hell with it. It's the pandemic, it kind of died down and shows started to open back up. So I started leaning out. And typically, in the off season when I don't do a dirty bulk, it typically takes me anywhere from I'd say 12 to 14 weeks to prep for a show. And in
Okay.
prep, you as time progresses, as you get closer and closer to the show, I reduce my carbs incrementally. Um, my cardio ramps up incrementally as I get closer and closer to the show. Well, this is how I do it,
Mm.
and the training kind of tapers down as you get closer to the show because you're leaner, you're eating less food, so you should taper down your training intensity somewhat. Even posing can be very fatiguing coming down to the end because you're holding and contracting your muscles so much, and then if you do it for too long of a period, it could add to your fatigue, plus your training and all of that. So you have to factor all of that in and manage your fatigue. But yeah, I'd say 12 to 14 week prep typically. But for that, when I in 2021, when I got way too overweight or gained too much body fat, it took me an additional 2 months. So it was a 5 month prep. And
Wow.
I lost somewhere around 36, 37 pounds in that time. So I talked to my one of my old coaches when I first started. Like I had a coach back in 2017,
Hmm.
2018, and I still chat with him from time to time. He lives in the Bahamas. He said CJ, that's what people call me. He said CJ, you're a pro now. You can't get that far out of shape. You you know what I'm saying? In the off season, you're still a pro. you know
Yeah.
you just can't do that. You should know better. So never again, no dirty bulks, not for me. I haven't even tried a mass gainer since. I just kind of
I got like
use
PTSD from mass gators.
yes, yes. I don't want to see another one. I just rather just eat more food, you know. So yeah, just do it the right way, and give yourself time to grow. Don't rush the process. Because it's not fun coming back down from that. I didn't really realize the benefits I thought I would, so
Mm,
I don't think it's worth it.
yeah. I feel like that's one of the challenges of being in this sport, especially when you've, leaned down over and over and over again. Like it's really easy to, in my opinion, to lose, I don't want to say lose sight, but definitely kind of get out of your normal routine. And then it's like, you know what? I can have an extra slice of pizza here. I can order these extra French fries here. And then all of a sudden
It's
you're
a
like,
slippery slope.
right. And then, because in the back of your head, like, I can lean down for show. What are you talking about? I've been on show, I've been on prep. I've been single digit percent body fat. There's definitely nothing that could hold me back on this. That's for sure. You mentioned, all right, so you said back in 2017 is your coach and everything. Is that when you, well, actually, yeah, is that when you first started competing, or can you kind of take us back into your first
Yeah,
competition and what led into that?
yeah. So when I moved here back to Tallahassee, because I lived in the Bahamas, I've lived in Maryland, and then I was married, divorced when I was in the Bahamas, so I moved back to Tallahassee because my mom and brother lived here. And the gym I went to, this Gold's Gym, just had a bunch of people that I met and became friends of mine, and the majority of them were trying to compete. Like they were trying to attain their IFBB pro card,
Mm,
right? Right. So I did a few NPC shows, and my first NPC show, I placed fifth, and my posing was just trash. And I realized, damn, I look good,
wow.
but I need a posing coach. So I got a posing coach, and I had a friend from the Bahamas. He agreed to coach me, I guess, with the nutrition and diet protocols for leaning down, and so he really helped me and gave me a baseline for that in 2017. And after I got the posing coach, I did a show in 2018, the following year, and won. It was Panama City. I think it was called Muscle for Heart. That was the
Okay.
name of the show. I won the overall, won my class, won the overall, and was nationally qualified for the nationals, basically for NPC, um, which was an opportunity to win your IFBB Pro card. But that's when I discovered natural bodybuilding because in my posing class, we met in groups. So I met other men's physique guys that were training for shows, and one of the guys had just gotten his OCB Pro card from winning a show that came here. I think it was his slide show, the Winter Classic.
Okay.
He had won his pro card, so I was, I'm looking at his physique, and I'm like, I look better than him right now, and he's a pro, right? So I said, I think this may be the route I should take, because my friends that, they eventually did get their IFBB Pro cards. I have, I think, about two or three female friends that went to that gym that attained their pro card, and one male friend in classic physique. So
Hmm.
they're all in IFBB right now. But just talking to them, and they're on the special sports supplements, I would say. That, that's what they call it, and just they just kind of laid out what it would take to be a pro at that level, and I'm like, man, that's a lot of drugs, and you have to take different drugs
Man.
16 weeks out, then 12 weeks out, then what I'm saying, as the
Wow.
prep progresses, it's just an alphabet of drugs, and I just didn't
Jeez.
want to live like that. I didn't want to open that can of worms. So the same guy who won his pro card and was posing with me said he was prepping for a show, I think that June later that year. And I said, I'll go with you and I'll compete as an amateur to see if I can get my pro card, So yeah, we both went down there. I can't remember how he did. I think he placed third in the pro show, but I eventually won my pro card at OCB's Emerald Coast Classic. That's another
Okay.
slide show.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
So that was 2019.
2019. That's what I was going to ask you.
Yeah, so that's when I turned pro,
Yeah.
and had a pretty good debut as well. I placed third at the Yorton uh, as my pro debut.
Okay. Okay.
So that
So
was,
that's
yeah, it was pretty cool.
so that's pretty nuts. So it's funny that the majority of the people that you work out with are special sports supplements, like, right? So SSS, the SSS plan, I guess is what we're going to call it from here on out. They're on the SSS plan, you know. Um,
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
it's I can imagine when you're working out and you are around people that are on these special sports supplements, like I imagine it can like push you, right? Like they need supplements, but
Yeah,
this is me right here. Do you find yourself pushing yourself with your friends, and do you find yourself bettering and that helping
yeah,
you out?
because my training partner was the guy in classic, so he's already a bigger guy. The guy is like, 6'2", 6'3", maybe 250, pounds or so,
Wow,
240,
that's a big
250. Yeah,
boy. Yeah,
he's huge. Yeah.
that's a big
So
boy.
he was already pushing me before I even knew that, the drugs he was taking and all of that. But he's a great guy. He's a massage therapist down. He moved from Tallahassee now. He lives in Tampa. They got all the nice gyms down there now. And coaches, and yeah, you just have access to more stuff in a bigger city. Tallahassee's a real small city, college town, really.
Hmm.
But I like it because it's kind of slow. It's not so busy, not so much traffic. Like during the holidays, all the college students leave town, and it's like a ghost town. I just like
Mm.
that laid back scene, so it works for me. But yeah, he definitely pushes me. He pushed me. I learned a lot, training techniques, things of that nature. But all in all, I took my own path, and I'm an older competitor too. So I'm already a masters competitor. So I just was like, man, I'm too old for this. I don't want to do this to my body. I have kids. I have a
Yeah.
lot to live for. And I just you see if you look around, man, every like in the past few years, IFBB pros are just dropping dead.
Yeah. Did you, speaking of
Yeah.
which, did you hear about the death this morning? I forgot, it's Joe A Aesthetics on Instagram.
Really?
He died this morning, apparently from a heart attack in Dubai.
No way.
Bro,
No
which
way.
obviously I didn't anticipate bringing this up during this conversation. I was leading up into it, but literally I was leaving the gym. All these Instagram posts, YouTube,
Oh
everything. They're
my
talking about it,
God.
right? And he is such a paramount figure in our community, and it's just
Wow. And he
29,
seems so young. 29?
29. It's scary, you know. I mean,
I mean, is that not enough for you to go natural?
I tell you, I
How
mean,
many people do we have to lose for people to figure this out, man? Is it really worth the risk? And but
it
you know what?
yeah.
Let me say this. Let me say this.
Hmm.
Some people abuse the special sport supplements.
Special. Yeah,
I don't want to just say
you're
it,
not
but
wrong.
I think, because some people take it in moderation. I know my friend personally, he tells me that, in the off season, he comes off a lot of the gear. I think he keeps in a little test. That's what he tells me. That's about it. And he comes off all the hard stuff, you know. And some of them you need to do blood work readily, just to make sure everything's good to go. And man, I I don't understand it. But
Yeah.
some people, I don't know. I don't know what dosages are. I don't, because I'm not in that world. I don't really understand,
Right.
if they're abusing it, or is it just not compatible with their body, their system. Everyone's different. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's just sad to see people, and then so young. I think Dallas McCarver was 26. Now Joey Aesthetics is
Jeez.
29. I mean, Sean Roden had just won the Olympia. He was like 42. You had Cedric McMillan just die recently, or either late last year or early this year. George Peterson, uh, even John Meadows. He had retired from competing, was an old man, and I watched a lot of his training videos. Intelligent
Mm,
fella. He died. I think he was in his 50s. Like it's just incredibly sad, man.
yeah.
So many great people.
I got to tell you though, there's I'm I'm not against PEDs per se because the older I
Right.
get, and I notice myself getting a lot. It takes a little bit longer to recover. I
Yes.
definitely find I feel like I'm at the age now where everything I do I got to grunt. So if I'm like tying my shoe, get up off of a seat. You know what I mean. Everything
And
I
so
do,
you
like,
have days like that. Yes, yes, I
but
agree.
I swear, I find myself complaining or making these grunts and noises, and I'm like, when did this start? Like, why is it that I'm tying my shoe, and it's an entire evolution to be like, all right, I got to bend over and like,
Yeah, you don't you dread when you drop something and you have to bend down to pick it up? You're like, oh my God, it's the end of the world,
yeah,
right? The end of the world when you drop something and have to pick it up. Oh my
yeah.
God. Or
It's at
walk
the
up a
point
flight of
where
steps.
right. No. It's funny because every single time one of those moments happen, I know I ask myself, is it really worth it to do this? And then I do. I mean, don't be wrong. I have to do it and I have to pick it up or I have to go up the stairs. But there's definitely where
Man.
that reluctance where I'm like, I know this is going to hurt. Like it's just basic shit. Um,
Yep.
but you know what's interesting because you said you're in the Masters and I honestly had no idea that you were above 40 until you stepped up on the Masters and like Rudy was right next to you
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, Desario's over 40? What the hell? Because I tell you, man, you have one of those looks where you can be 23, 43, 73. Like you have just that look. And I feel like you're going to keep this demeanor and then this.
Hey, take care of your body. Take care of your
Amen to
body. That's
that.
all. That's all I would say. I don't drink a lot of alcohol. I do drink, but
Mm-hmm.
very little. Like I'm a social drinker. You have to like personally invite me out to get me to have a drink. I have alcohol here in my house
Mm-hmm.
that I bought like maybe over 2 years ago, and it's some of the bottles are still there. It's just in case friends come over and want to drink. You know, um, and I don't smoke cigarettes, things like that. And I've been on this fitness journey now for over a decade. I just recently started competing over maybe the last 6, 7 years,
Okay.
but before that, I've been training, and it's been progressive. Like, I think when I first started, maybe 2, 3 days a week, and then you do that for a while, and you realize you need more as you progress,
Mm.
get stronger, and get bigger. If you want to continue to grow and progress, you need more volume. So, it got up to 4 days a week. Then I got moved here to Tallahassee, 5 days a week. Started competing. I'm training like 6 days a week. So the gym is literally a part of my life. It's a lifestyle, like they say, if
Yeah.
you want to be great. So
Yeah.
spend a lot of my time there. I think, what does CT Fletcher say? To be the best, you must obsess.
Ooh.
To be
Mm.
the best.
Bro.
Sometimes that's the difference between good and great.
Oh my God. Do you all right, so I'm huge on reading books. All right, so let me preface this. I'm huge on listening to books because I don't have the time to read. So when
The
I
audio
drive,
books. Yeah,
audiobooks.
yeah. It works.
Have
It works.
it does. It does. One author in particular, he's not an author, he's a trainer, Tim Grover, who is Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant's trainer. He's got
Okay.
two books that's called Relentless and it's called Winning. Thank God I keep on bringing up this book and I keep on forgetting that it's called Relentless. This is the first episode that I finally remember that it's called Relentless, by the way. Because I always said like resilience or whatever. I'm like, no, these are wrong. Well, finally, it's called Relentless. Um,
Relentless.
and so he talks about just that, the difference between people that win, people that kind of win championships, and the GOAT, right? So he talks about Kobe's mindset, talks about Jordan's mindset, and he talks about how, and I feel like he's one of the few people in this world that has enough reputation and is accomplished enough to say this, but he makes the distinction between MJ and Kobe and LeBron. And he talks about specifically what it is about MJ and Kobe, and you're like, holy shit, that is the difference. And it's just exactly what you said. It's this crazy mindset. And that's why
Yeah.
I love the Last Dance documentary, because it showed what Michael Jordan's crazy fucking ass is thinking 24/7. And we're all thinking, oh,
He's
Michael Jordan, be like Mike, whatever. And then you get on there and he's like, no, that's when I took it personal. That's when I took it personal. And you're just like, dude, this guy's a fucking psycho. But that's the mindset you have to win.
I've got a funny story. So
Okay.
similar to Michael Jordan, kind of creating beefs in his head to motivate him even more than he already is, right? So Florida Pro, they have they call the Hall of Fame, kind of where they have the posters in the lobby of the
Okay.
past
Okay.
year's champions. There
Okay.
wasn't a post there wasn't a poster of me.
Oh, you're right.
I won the Masters last year, so there should have been a poster of me. One. Two, I don't know if you saw the subcultures flyer for the Florida Pro. It had
Yes, I did.
Arias Norris.
I
He was the
saw.
headliner on the poster. He had never even competed at the Florida Pro,
Ooh.
right?
And you had won the event last year too, right? You'd won overall physique
Last year,
and
I won third. I came third in the overall last year. Marcus won. Keith came second, and
okay.
I won the Masters. I won
Oh,
the
okay.
Masters
That's
last year, so I should still have a poster as the Masters winner. I think he had the previous year's poster still up there. Anyway, I take it all in. I don't verbalize it, and I use it as fuel. I do use it as fuel, as motivation to go harder than I already was.
mm,
So yes, I do the same thing, you know. You kind of just internalize it and just use it to do better, to go harder, you know.
yeah. Yeah. That I gotta all right. So now you brought it up, and I do have to ask you, because we did kind of talk about it on DMs, and I was asking you about it. In your opinion, um, I guess I'm gonna lead up into this. Are there
Mhm.
any times where you've competed where you saw the results and you felt like maybe the results were a little bit slighted? You felt like maybe there was a little bit of favoritism. Have you experienced that in your competition career?
Well, it's hard to say. Um, I haven't won every show, but I also knew that I could have been better. And then after I started winning, I realized the difference in my physique and my performance of the times I won and the times I didn't win. So I'm always collecting data. Um, that's why you want to continue to compete. You want to experience from beginning to end, and even the prep, the differences in the preps, different things that you did, or uh, like the time it takes to achieve a certain look,
Mm,
because it's all about peaking. You have to look your best at a certain date. So timing is very important, things of that. But I remember after I won the Yorton last year, I competed at the Tampa Pro OCB and I placed third. But I knew I wasn't my best because I wasn't my back pose. I couldn't hold it. Let me tell you what went wrong. Two things went
mm,
wrong at that show. So I
okay.
blame myself. On my way to the show, that the morning of the show, a fuse in my fuse box went bad and it controlled my AC. So my AC just stopped working on my way to the show and I started sweating. I sweated off most of my tan and was trying to reapply it right before
Oh
the show.
wow.
Right. So my tan was messed up, one. And then two, I got there and everyone was pumping up because the pros go on first.
Right.
So I get there and I'm seeing guys, they're pumping up their back. I'm like, I usually don't do that, but let me pump up my back too. Wrongest thing I ever did.
Oh
So
man.
I fatigued my back by, I guess I don't maybe I just did too much. And when I went on stage, by the time they had spun us around maybe two or three times, my back was starting to fail where I couldn't hold my contractions. It just felt numb. I couldn't I couldn't connect with my back. So I knew I could just imagine
Oh
how it
man.
looked. Luckily I looked good enough to place third, but I did not win. And I couldn't
Wow.
blame the judges, just because, you have great abs, you got to have the total package, so my tan was probably off and my back poses were probably off, and
Hmm.
that dropped me in placing. So you just have to, and you have to use that as a learning experience. Like now I know, hey, I'm not pumping up my back. I didn't do it at the Florida Pro
Wow.
because I know how grueling the stage is. So you want to keep your back fresh. So I just pump up the shoulders and the arms and the chest, which you aren't flexing as much on stage. The muscles that
Yeah.
you flex a lot on stage, you probably don't want to pump up as much. So that's a tip to you amateurs and pros out there.
Yeah, I'm gonna write that down for myself. Trust me, man, for sure. But you know what I love about this, Desario, and I feel like this is what sets you apart from the field as of right now. I asked you a question about how if you feel like judges can have slighted your result, and you managed to make it about yourself. Still, at the end of the day, like, nah, they might have, but this is what I brought. Nah, this is what I did. This is what I did. This is what I noticed. And I think that's
Yeah,
really paramount because you can take a million different approaches. You can say it was the judges, you can say it was the AC, you can say it was this, but at the end of the day, you're still 100% responsible for what you do, what position you put yourself into, what lineup you decide to sign up for. And it doesn't matter what anybody else, because, like you said, the only thing you can really control is just yourself. And so that's
exactly.
really, I mean, has that mindset always been with you where you just take 100% accountability for everything that you do, or has that been something that you've kind of developed over time?
I think it comes from knowing yourself. If like each time I knew I looked great, I did win. And
Mm.
the times that things kind of went wrong or I felt like I wasn't at my best, I didn't win. Now, even now I'll say this. The 2019 Yorton, my pro debut,
Mm-hmm.
I thought I could have done better, but everything was so new to me. I was just happy that I even, placed that high in my pro debut. But if you look at the physiques, it could be questionable. I
Mm.
kind of thought me just coming in, being a rookie, me coming in, I thought, oh, they're not going to let a rookie pro win the Yorton at his first pro show.
Mm.
I did think that way. So there's that. But at the end of the day, it's not my job to choose the winner, you know. And I know how hard it is to be a judge because I just did it recently this year. I became a judge and I judged my first show in March. And it's a panel of judges, so it doesn't come down to one judge. It's what they collectively think,
Mm-hmm.
and so you have to appeal to, and sometimes it's a males and females.
Mm-hmm.
Now that I think could be controversial. You know, to me personally, I'm not sure if all female judges know exactly what they're looking for when they're judging men,
Mm-hmm.
and vice versa. The male judges, I'm not 100% sure that all of them know exactly what they're looking for in the females. So
Mm.
you'll notice at the Yorton, only males judge the male categories and only females judge the female categories.
Interesting.
Yes, because for instance, at the Florida Pro, one of the judges told me he was sitting next to a female judge and she thought I didn't like, or I wasn't happy on stage because I wasn't smiling enough.
Sorry. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, but it's real.
It
I wasn't smiling enough. He doesn't. Oh, he's not enjoying it. He's not happy. Does he want to win? Or like
what?
sometimes, yeah, nothing about the physique, right? It
Wow.
was my smiling on stage. So you never know what they're looking for, what they're looking at, things like that. So, but at the end of the day, your job is to be as undeniable as possible. You do your job and you let them do
Mm,
theirs. You trust the professionalism of the organization, um, and that's why you compete there. So
yeah,
you just let the chips fall where they may.
man. Speaking of which, and this is what I was kind of leading up into, what's your take on Arias, kind of calling the judges out, saying that he thinks that he was made to be an example? I mean, in your eyes, in your words, and I guess just your perspective, how do you think that all played out? And then how do you think it would have happened had he actually just finally made it to the final stage?
Well, I'll say this. I thought it was very unprofessional of him. It was kind of immature in the moment, and I think he realized that too because he did a sit down with Eric Shelton and Carolina Muscle, and he literally said, that's how I am. It's just his
Mm.
personality. When he doesn't get his way, he acts out. He said that. He said, I can be a brat, you know. And so just looking back, I think now maybe he should have won. If
Mm.
I was a judge, I would have picked him to win from looking
Ooh,
at what I saw on stage, right?
interesting.
But but it's just the class. There's live finals judging, meaning it doesn't matter who placed first, second, or third in the class.
Mm.
You start with a clean slate at finals. So why not show up to finals and see what it really is, right? That was another
Mm.
reason why I wasn't even smiling when I won my class because I knew it wasn't over. What did I win? A medal?
Yeah, yeah.
It's not over. This just qualifies me for the finals. It doesn't matter. You'll notice the guy that actually finished second in finals was not even in the top three in his class.
Yeah, Frederick, right? Like Frederick looked
Freddie,
freaking.
yes,
My
and
God,
he's
that kid.
he's phenomenal because he's only 24. You can imagine him in 2, 4, 6 years. He's going to be the best if he
Yeah.
continues. So I just think Arias could have possibly. I wanted to face him. I was looking forward to facing him on the stage and us battling it out for, first and second or whatever. And we even promoted it on our stories leading up to the show.
Mm,
Mr. Yorton versus Mr. America. We shared that post, both of us,
right.
you know, because we've competed before multiple times. He's beaten me, I've beaten him, and we were going to meet again. I was going to tell him if he had won the Florida Pro, I was coming to Mr. America for him, right? But he got pissed with the judges, and he felt used, is what he said, because like I told you, they had him on the flyer to help promote the
Yeah.
show, to bring, hey, we got Mr. America coming at our show. You should come and check this out. And then you get the man second in his class. He felt used, and I guess when you win so much, you get used to it. You're used to winning, and you kind of think you're above taking those L's. And sometimes the judges humble you. Now, I will say he did fly in the day before the show from, I think he lives in Denver, so he connected in Atlanta. So I don't know if he may have been retaining some water because of the travel.
Oh, and then the
The
altitude
elevation
too,
causes.
right? Right.
Right, exactly. So maybe that was the issue, and I think he would have looked better at finals because he looked great when he did his individual routine, later
Mm,
in the day. So, but he never gave himself the opportunity. I mean, it's really all on him. Uh,
yeah.
it's a learning experience, and now I think he says He's chasing the IFBB now. He's done with natural bodybuilding, so he says. So
Oh
we'll see
man.
how that plays out. But he's a cool guy, man. He's a friend of mine. And I kind of understand the rationale, but you have to be the bigger person. You're an adult, you're a man, you know, just just face it and remain professional. And if you want to have, say what you want to say, you could speak to the promoter after the show or even the judges themselves and see what they have to say.
Mhm.
Because I will say this, sometimes judges' feedback is trash.
Ooh.
Yeah, I've had some judges that did not take it seriously. And remember, I told you I placed third at that OCB Tampa show.
Uh-huh.
I got conflicting feedback from judges, you know,
Huh.
and I can tell a few of the judges kind of just, it was like whatever, kind of blow you off and tell you whatever, and I didn't appreciate that. So you do have some of those judges out there like that.
Mhm.
But I'm sure it's not the majority, so
Right.
you just got to keep pushing and keep pushing forward, and you remain professional at all times, because it's your reputation and your name on the line. You see, now that all of this has
Mm.
happened, he has that stigma now it's gonna follow him,
Yeah,
if he ever competes in natural bodybuilding again, so,
man.
but it is what it is.
Yeah. It's really important. I think you just emphasized it enough where you have to show up as your authentic self regardless of circumstance, regardless of situation. This reminds me of like a segment I read in a book called Think Like a Monk, and it's by Jay Shetty. And he talks
Okay.
about how him and his monk friends, they were surrounding this little pothole of sand, and in this little pothole of sand was a scorpion, and the scorpion was struggling to get out, and one of the monks grabbed the scorpion, helped it out, and it stung him, right? And then they were all asking
Mm,
him, they were like, wait, why did you help this scorpion out if you know it was going to sting you? He goes, well, stinging me is in the scorpion's nature. Helping someone in need is in my nature. And it's just like, regardless of circumstance, you just have to be who you are. And it's
true.
just interesting on how certain circumstances do bring about attributes about yourself that you can either reflect on, is this how I want to show up, or is this something that I
Right.
want to work on and change? And this is a phenomenal
Correct.
opportunity for everybody to not only kind of look at like, hey, maybe the judging, maybe this, but also for, Mr. Norris over there to say, hey, is this how I want to
Personal
show up?
growth. Personal
Exactly,
growth. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you,
Yeah.
man, as a fan, with the way he set up everything, the next year's Florida Pro, if he decides to compete, there's gonna be so much hype. And you know what? I gotta say this. Arias, if you're listening to this, so I hope you are, I will pay for your flight. I'll pay for your entry. I'll pay for anything because I want you to show up. You set up such a great, like, oh shit,
Comeback.
Arias is gonna actually come right. And then I know you're gonna go out there and defend your title. And with the lineup that we saw this last June, oh my God, like I'm fanboying right now. I'm hella
It'd be
fanboying. I'm
interesting.
like, oh my, because when you got up on that finals and the very Frederick and then Kai and then Carrie Permit, and I know
Hmm.
I'm missing one. I forgot who I'm missing up there.
There was
Um,
Anderson.
oh yeah, yeah,
Anderson.
yeah.
It was another tall guy. I think Andre was his name, and then there was what's the other guy's name? Marcus's athlete, Excalibur.
Oh, okay,
The
okay, right,
Excalibur guy. Yeah,
right,
I'm trying to remember some of the finalists, but yeah,
yeah.
it was
And
hell of a lineup. Hell of a
that
lineup,
was
and a
hell
lot
of
of
a lineup.
tall guys too, right?
Bro, I keep on telling Kai because Kai keeps on getting posted on this rare breed stuff and everything. Kai came up and I'm like, yo, I'm convinced that Kai is a Decepticon. I'm completely convinced that because
Yes.
that guy's
Yes.
wings, that guy's lats, I just
Yes.
like what? Like you
Yes.
are definitely a transformer, my man. There's no effing
Megatron.
way.
That's
You're
that's
right.
Megatron.
For sure. I don't know. I think his like Instagram handles like summertime fitness. Like, nah, you are definitely
Yeah,
sugarcoating who the hell
Megatron. He
you
needs to
are.
change that. Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
right. You know what? Speaking of which,
Definitely.
I got to ask you too, because I love the nicknames that exist in bodybuilding. Your nickname is Core Killer. Can you go into where that nickname came from, and then how that has kind of
So
shaped you?
yeah, so at the at that 2018 show, that overall that I won at in NBC, and we were taking photos afterwards, and I was just doing poses, and I think at the time my handle on Instagram was just 242 D boy. 242 is the area code for the Bahamas, and
Okay.
my name's Desario. So it's yeah, that was where that came from. And then my abs, I guess I was so lean that you could really see them, and they were really popping. And one of my friends, she said, "You should change. You got to change your name. Look at your core. It's like you're the core killer or something." Like, and she actually just spit it out just like that. You look like the core killer, right? Because she was just so impressed with my abs, and she was the girlfriend of the guy, my classic physique friend that
Oh,
got his pro card.
okay.
Yes,
Okay.
Victoria. So yeah, I owe that name to her.
Oh man, that's awesome. So I guess what are some other are there any other nicknames that are out in the industry that you enjoy that you think are funny? Like, do any of these things come to mind for you?
I love Showtime.
Showtime. Oh, that
Showtime.
is it
That's
fits him.
that's one of the best. Yeah.
Yeah,
Showtime, Keith. And before Arias changed his, he was Natty Norris.
Natty Norris. I like
Natty
that.
Norris. I always like that. Yeah. Natty Norris. Malik is carry permit.
That is
You
badass. I like
know.
that too.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
He's ready to unleash, right?
yeah, yeah.
Um, Excalibur. It's quite a few
These are badass. Oh,
pretty
you know what?
cool ones.
And then Florida at the Florida Pro, there was a sexual chocolate. Did you he's like a classic physique guy. He's this 23-inch waist. Oh, his name slips my mind, but him and his girlfriend Glory were at the Florida Pro, and he's the one that
Wow,
won like the
sexual
amateur.
chocolate.
His name is sexual chocolate, man. But bro,
Coming to
5 foot,
America, coming to
yeah.
America. Right. Sexual chocolate.
Bro, when we were on the live stream, Robin had brought up his name because Robin's one of her really close friends. That was her boo, and it
Oh,
just
okay.
she's like, and as soon as she mentioned it on the live stream, like, oh, his nickname is Sexual Chocolate. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna just
Wow.
run with this. But it's it is
Wow.
interesting on all the different nicknames because I guess for me I love being a fanboy in the sport, so I kind of like visualize like WWE characters. Like you guys have your nicknames, you guys have your personas. I think we would need like
Mm-hmm.
maybe a little intro music, maybe every single time you step up on stage. Ooh, I guess I got to ask you, Desaro, if you had to pick an intro song for yourself to get up on stage, yeah,
Hmm.
the one specific one, what would it be?
Uh, what's that song? The man right here. I can't even remember how it goes. It's so
I mean,
many songs. I listen to so much music,
uh-huh.
man. It'll be hard to come up with one right now. Um, but I'm keep hearing this the man right here. I don't know,
I mean,
something upbeat, some hip hop up tempo, that
okay.
exudes confidence and, winning. Or maybe what's the song with I think it's Drake, Kanye, Eminem. It
Oh,
may not mean nothing
nothing
at
be
all.
y'all. Understand
Right.
nothing was done for me.
For me,
Yeah.
yeah. That
Yo, what was
that goes hard.
what was
That
that
goes hard.
that Drake the Drake opened that one so great. Like last name ever, first name greatest, like a sprained ankle, boy, ain't nothing to play
Yes.
with. I was like,
Woo! Yes.
oh,
Yes.
I miss
Yes.
when Drake
Yes.
was hard. I miss when he was actually like
Hmm.
Drizzy, and now he's like
Yeah.
fingernail Drake, which I don't know. I don't know anything about that.
What he
Like,
does, let me tell you what he does. He gives you bits and pieces of that old Drake. Right now he's so world renowned. and so global. Like his fan base is just crazy. So he tries to appeal to the women a lot, and you got international fans, you got black fans, white fans. So his music is so universal at this point. But he's still here and there. You're gonna hear some of that hard spitting like you used to, more so, more often back in the day.
Right.
It's just a little less.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely I miss original Drake, man. That's just me. That's what definitely, and then I remember when I first heard him, my ex-wife is like, he's from Degrassi. That's Weird Till Jimmy. I'm like, who? What the fuck? And then now he is who he is. Let's take it back to this because this isn't about Drake, right? I got like two more questions for you, man. The first thing I
Hmm.
wanted to ask was who are three athletes, three of them in the sport in your class that, let's say, the next time you compete, outside of you winning, who are three other athletes that you can picture that could pretty much overcome your presence and then end up beating you in either the Yorton Cup, the next year's Florida Pro? Who are three athletes that you were looking at specifically?
Mm, I would say for the Yorton, Eric Shelton. He
Oh,
came
yeah.
second last year. That guy is huge, man.
Okay.
And he's tall. He's tall, just like Kai and Freddie, but he's way thicker. He has a lot more muscle mass than those guys. I think he may be a bit older because I think he's in his early 30s. And those guys are still in the 20s. But yeah, Eric for sure. Um, as far as the Florida Pro, uh, I mean, those guys still got some work to do. We'll see if Arias shows up. Um, we'll see because I'm still improving as well.
I love this. You see what I mean? Every single question. Let's think about something like, nah, let's make it about me. Let's make it about me.
I mean, I gave you some names. I think they have potential. They have potential, as we all do. You
Right.
know, but I guess right now they got to knock me off first. You know.
Ooh. Ooh. Yeah. Yeah. All right. So if I were to say three athletes that you picked Eric Shelton, you picked Arias, and then I heard a couple of times you named Freddie a couple of times on here.
Yeah, Freddie. Freddie really impressed me. As his stage presence, well, obviously his physique, but his stage presence and his posing, I thought was better than anyone else on the stage. It was a lot of other. I think Corey Ball was another young, tall guy that looked really
Oh
good.
yeah, Corey, right.
Yeah, man. Like those young guys all got great potential. They just have to put in more time, you know. And as they grow, they're going to be at the top. I'm sure of it. I can
Yeah.
already see their symmetry and the muscle is just they need a little more growth, a little more time, a little more fine tuning with the stage presence, and they're right there. At that when I was their age, I probably wasn't even bodybuilding yet. You see what I'm saying? So they're
Wow.
so far ahead of the game. And then you got to think too, men's physique is still relatively new. The division didn't start until about what 2012, 2013,
Oh, I didn't know
somewhere
that.
around there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, men's physique did not exist prior to that, right? So, um, so when it started, at whatever age you were, you just had to jump in and just take it from there. And those guys, they just, it existed before they really even started, and so they got like at least another decade to grow and improve. So it's exciting. It's going to be exciting to see their growth. At that point, I'll probably be a coach. I'll be trying to get some amateurs to the pro stage. So that's what
Yeah.
I'm working on right now, getting my coaching and stuff up. So I can kind of just drift off into the sunset and still be kind of present in the background, like Coach Core Killer.
The Coach Core Killer, CCK right there.
Yeah,
No SSSs
there
for
you
him.
go.
That damn no.
No, 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 no. You know,
Special sports supplements. Sorry, that is for the rest of my life now gonna be. Oh, so you're taking
yes.
special sports supplements.
I got that the special sport supplement thing is from my my fitness guru that I look to for anything hypertrophy and science related, Dr. Mike Israetel.
Okay. Oh,
He
okay. I've heard that name
yeah,
thrown around a lot, actually. Okay.
yeah, he's pretty popular in the sport. I got a chance to meet him in person uh at the Nationals they had in Orlando, NPC Nationals in Orlando in I think it was 2020, right? The pandemic year, coming down at the end of the year. And he was there. That's where my friend won his pro card. And one of his coworkers
Hmm. Okay.
also won their pro card. So he was in the building. I got to meet him and I said, Dr. Mike came over, took a pic with me. He was super humble, super nice. He said, you wanna look bigger than me in the pic? And so he shrunk down like this. He shrunk down to try and make himself look smaller. And he said, okay, so
Wow.
you gotta like twist yourself and really, flex your flex your muscles. The guy, he is like the funniest, uh, most hilarious uh fitness personality to me. And I love his analogies that he uses and, kind of just breaks down all the science stuff into layman's terms for people to understand is great. His company is called Renaissance Periodization.
Oh wow. It sounds smart.
Yeah, Renaissance Periodization. Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Periodization is kind of the phasic approach to training, uh, and the most optimal way you should train, basically. But
Wow.
yeah, he's hilarious. That's where the special he was once natty. He was a power lifter. He does Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and now he's into bodybuilding, and he's on the special sports supplements, the right ones,
The the right
So
one.
he has a yeah, because I think some people get theirs off the black market from a guy out their trunk, and then some people actually have like doctor's prescriptions.
Right.
So like I said, I don't know too much about that world. I
Yeah.
just, from what I hear, this is what I hear.
Bro, I remember when I was in high school playing football, there was a couple of kids that I played with that drove down to Tijuana and picked up those steroids and they were using them. And I'm just like, what are you doing? I could only imagine, like, and I can't imagine they're like regular human steroids. I imagine they're like cow steroids, horse steroids. Like,
Man,
I
come
guess
on,
if you
man.
want,
You don't even know what you're putting in your body.
but I feel like that's one of the fears though, right? Like the younger generation sometimes, and I remember feeling this ignorance, which is you don't care about what's going to happen 10 years from now. You don't know what's going to happen 15 years from, and you almost don't care because instant gratification almost supersedes whatever harm you could be doing yourself in the future. And I see that a
Right.
lot in young men in today's generation is just like a lot of kids getting into like they think they got to be Chris Bum right at the age of 18 or 19. They think they got to get to that physique by tomorrow. And it's just like, no, there
Instant
is
gratification.
it's it's a challenge.
Yeah.
It really
It's this what they call the microwave generation. They just want it right now,
right.
and a lot of them don't want to work for it. They want the secret, the tips, the fast track. That's why
Yeah.
you see all these fad diets and all this crazy stuff. And really, it's just the basic fundamentals consistently done over time. That's how it's done.
And that's I was
That's
going
how
to
it's
ask
done
you
right.
actually, right? And that's actually what I was going to ask you. Well, two more questions on this because you added this. First of all, I wanted
Yeah,
to
that's fun.
ask. First of all, I wanted to ask if you were to see yourself like a younger version, like 20 years ago or so. Like, what's the kind of advice? What's the kind of direction you would give that younger version of yourself? And then, after that, I kind of am interested because you talked about running off in the sunset and doing whatever. So I'm curious as to like where you envision yourself in the future in the sport and kind of where you see the sport going. So those two parts, which however you want to go.
Yeah, 20 years ago, geez, I probably would have started training earlier, because I was really skinny. I was a string bean, just played basketball, didn't really understand the whole nutrition part of it, and just hanging around guys in the gym, and then moving here to a gym filled with competitors. I kind of just got into the sport, and it's addictive. Once you start and you start training and you see the changes in your body, you start seeing results. You want more results. You want
Yeah.
more and more. So it's very addicting. So I say, get started earlier. I think I started lifting in my late 20s. You know, had I
Jeez.
started earlier, I probably would have been more developed at this point, right? So yeah, start earlier. Um, try to get with someone that knows more than you, and that will fast track your training. Because I was training with when I initially started just a friend, and he just knew some basic stuff, and then I met, and then he kind of started getting distracted and wasn't as consistent. So I met with some other guys in the gym that were more serious and more technically sound with their training, and just more proficient in other exercises that dealt with different body parts that I wasn't used to training. Got
Right.
with them. Right, you see what I'm saying? Like I remember I only flat benched for probably for the first year or two of me training, and then they introduced me to the incline. I'm like, oh my God, this is so difficult. Like
This is
I've never
yeah.
done it before. It's hard as hell. So right, so get with people that know more than you do. That will fast track your training, right?
Mm,
Um, that will help. And then if you ever decide, you got to get to the point where you think you look good enough to get on stage and compete, get yourself a coach. That will also fast track your knowledge of nutrition. If you need posing, get a posing coach because it will save you less time moving up through the ranks. Um, like I said, I did my first show, I placed fifth, but my physique was probably top two, right,
mm.
at that show. But my posing was so trash that they had to place me lower because I I wasn't doing the mandatory poses or presenting my physique properly. So just, you know, gaining the knowledge of training. I got so interested in training. That's when I got my certification to become a personal trainer. So I have that
Mm.
under my belt as well. I just wanted to know the knowledge and science behind everything. And that's where the Dr. Mike Israetel came in with the Renaissance periodization. I started following him around the same time I got my certification through ISSA, International Sports Science Administration or Association, I think. I got my certified fitness trainer certificate in 2015. So it's good to know, the science behind what you're doing and really understand everything. It makes your training more optimal because a lot of people are just kind of trial and error, going in the gym and trying stuff and doing stuff they see someone else did or, some copycat type of thing. Um, but yeah, I would say 20 years ago that would fast tracked everything, you
Right.
know.
Right.
And where do I see the natural bodybuilding? I think it's growing. I wish it wasn't so divisive. Like we have so many different organizations, and the
Yes.
NPC and IFBB they're so united, and they have shows globally, worldwide, and it's all in one, and it's just so competitive because it's just one league, and
Right.
with the natural bodybuilding. You got the OCB, the NGA, the NFF, the GBO, the IPE. It's the alphabet boys,
Yeah.
right?
Alphabet play.
And yeah, yeah.
You're
And,
not
and, and
wrong.
so, yeah, sometimes it's hard to get the best talent all on one stage. Like, who can we say is really the best in natural bodybuilding? Is it the OCB Yorton Cup champ? Is it the USBF champ? Is it you see what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
so we kind of need one. I think Chris Spruill was talking about this on his stories right after the Florida Pro. Like, we need to kind of come together and have one Super Bowl, one Super Show where
Amen to
the
that.
champions of all of these natural leagues, let's see who is really truly the top dog, and maybe get a comprehensive judging panel as well, just to make it fair. So I don't know. That's where I think it should eventually. I'd like it to see it more united, the leagues, where you can still have the same amount of shows. Everyone has their shows, but we need to get on the same page as far as like testing and the rules and regulations of everything, so everyone can kind of just play together.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
that's 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 what I envision. I would like to see basically, and just watch the sport grow because I think it's such a better alternative to the special sports supplements leagues. You got to think about life and longevity and family, and you know, this is only for a season. So think about the bigger picture. And I think natural bodybuilding, you know, will win that battle, win that in any case.
Yeah.
So just you got to love yourself enough
Amen to that.
to stay disciplined. Yeah, man.
Amen to that. All right. Any last words? Also, Instagram handles for anybody to get a hold of you on.
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram at 242 Core Killer, Team Core Killer. I'm gonna have some apparel coming out eventually, so make myself a little more recognizable
A, a,
and
a little
I'm
happier,
taking
right?
on. Yeah, yeah. Like the
Oh
judges say,
my,
I gotta smile
oh
more.
my God. I can't imagine if I'm a judge sitting there like, you know what? His abs look amazing, but that fucking smile, he needs to smile. Like, what is
Right?
that? What is?
Right? Man, hey. You
Oh
have to,
God.
all the stars have to align. You gotta be on
Oh.
point. You gotta have nice trunks. Your tan has to be perfect. Your
Bro, next thing
posing has to be
your
perfect.
eyebrows have to be plucked. Your fucking mustache has to be trimmed. You fucking have to have the right. You have to have the right amount of underarm, under armor like fucking hair or armpit hair, or you fucking have to have like
Exactly.
oh my
But if you
God.
don't smile,
If you
but if
know
you don't smile, it's all for naught. It's all for naught, right?
oh my God. I love that.
Yeah,
I love
man.
that.
It's crazy. It's
If we're to
crazy.
tell me at the beginning of this episode, we're gonna end it with, "Hey, you need to tell everybody to smile." That's what you need to do. I would have been like, "How did we get
Yes,
here?"
yes. That's a stickler, especially with the female judges. So guys,
Oh,
make sure you smile. You see any female judges, be on your best behavior. Smile and wave.
smile and
Smile and
fucking do that damn wave, right?
yeah. But yeah,
Anyways,
242 Core Killer. I'm doing contest prep coaching, uh, men's physique posing coaching. So hit me up, 242 DM, 242 Core Killer. You can DM me anytime. Great podcast. I subscribed. I saw.
appreciate that, my
I seen.
man.
I seen you had some of the other Florida Pro competitors on. So yeah, man, keep up the good work.
I appreciate that. Yeah,
And
man. It's
yeah, man.
I definitely love natural bodybuilding and being able to bring light to a lot of people's stories and backgrounds and inspirations. Just like as yourself, it's this community is just phenomenal. There's so many great people, so many great messages, and
Yeah.
it's everything that I'm about. That's for sure. So thank you for that feedback. That really does mean a lot. I appreciate that. But
Thank you for having me on, man. Much
absolutely,
appreciated.
absolutely. Stay on for just a little bit, like we talked about earlier. But all
Will
right,
do.
guys. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us on this episode, and subscribe, follow the whole 9 yards about stuff. And then I guess until next time, I'll see you guys around. Dose.